Great. All right. So first of all, thank you to Segue and to Artist Space for having Nightboat as the curator for this fall series. It's an honor to be here and to present these poets, particularly in this anniversary year as Nightboat celebrates 20 years of publishing books rich with poignancy, intelligence, and risk. I encourage you to check out other events on our stacked fall calendar. We're so excited about the launch of Fire Spitter, the collected poems of Jane Cortez, this Wednesday at the Poetry Project Sanctuary, and for our first ever gala on October 22nd at the Sugar Hill Supper Club. And please come back for a future Segue reading. Biance Rae Messinger is a poet and translator living in New York State. Her first full-length book of poems, Pleasure is a Miracle, was published by Nightboat Books this year. She is also the author of the chapbooks The Love of God and Parallel Bars, and has published translations of Mauricio Gatti, Comunidad del Sur, Juana Isola, and Ariel Schettini. Pleasure is a Miracle is an incredible conduit. It vibrates, it arcs through the air, it delivers something to you. Maybe this is a spiritual deliverance, but maybe it's someone opening the bedroom door and delivering themselves, or the radio delivering you music, a music that refocuses you back into your body. I had a particular experience when I was rereading the book to write this introduction, where I was totally overwhelmed by the eroticism in Messinger's poetry. Before, Pleasure is a Miracle had felt very contemplative to me, ethereal. And when I imagined it, it was kind of a smoky crystal that turned invisible light into visible light. But then I read it again, and it was so lush, so full of desire, a very mouth-open kind of book. I thought, this is amazing. How could I have forgotten? I think it has to do with the directness of the language. Bodies appear and open and close. Pussies are like these beams of light that come down to us. There's joy and pleasure, obviously, but an incredible absence of that overly poetic sentiment, yearning. Things come to be and they leave. The poems accept these movements and project that acceptance in the unique smoothness of their pace, in the sharp observations of their narrator, in the real gentleness of their tone. Messinger shows us that eroticism, salvatory experience, even the dull revelations of first steps out of a depressive episode, it being dark but the sky still having cohesion, are accessible anytime. You can bring yourself to them. Pleasure is a Miracle argues for the miraculous and essential nature of pleasure, and also of its necessarily varied forms. That's why I love reading these poems again and again. I ask, where will the pleasure come from this time?
Wow, thank you so much, Morgan, for that incredible introduction. Thank you, Nightboat. Thank you, Segue. I'm so excited to be reading here with Sophie, too. This is like an absolute dream come true in a time where there's very few dreams coming true. So I'm going to read a bit from Pleasure is a Miracle, and then I'll switch to a couple new things, and so we'll go from there. Parallel bars. Back there, we make ourselves stop moving, following circles instead of their opposites, coming out in floor and again, large keyholes or adjustments, losing sight of desire and then returning too fast. Small openings or man workers like hissing or bubbles. The bars then at the entrance to an open box with the lights in the background. We, in crossing, we alone can glimpse their smile. That night where it's very windy, the buildings swaying between the streets, fantasy becoming an elementary fabrication with an elementary definition of price. The fabrication under whose non-diegetic constraint it is not exclusively maintained. We begin from the diegetic perspective of objects in order to examine the struggle of the feelings against their inadequate form. A street which is a storm, but taken from the viewpoint of the wind outside, What we call pleasure cannot be treated as one good among others. It is only because it is related as a very peculiar object, as you say, a body, in that the enjoyment of said object can be considered, not withholding, as very soft, rain and where the shapes between buildings are and where I find you in them, and me below, the rocks where the rats are, and under them again, but instead to write it on the big screen, because it's where I was in the city and being far from our favorite saints. Upon realizing wonder doesn't take an object, this one being directed at you, in the Gospel according to Matthew, he starts again, watching our concerns, having found it where you were and where the party starts, going somewhere we need, it being a smell thing, and going back tomorrow at it with the feeling of living, of what's needed somewhere else. He's known it from a decade of collecting frames, only he didn't force it into feeling, or didn't try to. That instinct comes back accidentally. Yeah, thanks to things being polyvocal when they don't know what else they are. He asks what she's reading. She's listening to the fish jump. I was able to say what tools I used in my process, and it makes me want to get caught, but I never do. I will tell you of the heavens, not of meditation or giving credit where the unrespected machines go. Two boys of the same vine, only one comes to the public and one goes the other way, saying it's the will of the Father, it being a small thing, and saying to let it take its course like an anecdote, then taking a second to focus on his glasses and his stupid top body, unable to see an escape or the prefect either. She was too busy to be unworked, having given up on coming, and instead asks what it's like to be this close to God. Looking at portions of the street, instead, its main charm being a change in heart rate when the music builds. And this is from the State of the Holy Spirit. Drink some water. Nothing is transposed, so she goes back to sleep with no thinking about fucking, but about water. Or is it the same object? An avenue circles it, tying the new ocean, and outside there's a field, which is familiar, though destroyed. Sometimes she has to run, as the water comes fast and tan. So she steals a car in the next scene, like a spaceship, so fast. Except that she saw a confused heap of things, being remnants of furniture. Trembling, she perceived it, what having made a small rustling sound like stirring, it having fallen gently amidst the lumber, her chest being open at the same time. It was a small roll of paper, having handwriting, and giving a few hollow sighs of the blast, she attempted to read. At some point, the dream ends because I wake up. We were on our way to Italy. A rose gives itself a bath. It's making me look bad, but I do want to take a bath. It's just an awful amount of effort. Somehow writing a letter to you feels like less, maybe because I like you. There was the attempt to make this letter flirty in some way. Is me describing my desire for a bath, a flirtation? Am I flirting with you, Holy Spirit? Probably. The weird thing is, about all of this is, I've felt remarkably better about my body since I've put you inside of it, after I killed you, then brought you back to life. Maybe because I have more time alone with it. But as you know, that doesn't always work out. As remarkably better as any girl in my situation could feel. There are books coming in the mail from somewhere far away, and I have to clean each one as they come in. I'll send you one in the next letter. A bientôt. Thank you for your letter. The cooperative delivered it. We miss you. I'm writing with the caps on now, since we got rid of time. I wish I could hide it. I wish love made me make my bed. I wish I could suffer the crust coming when you less expect it. This time, the dreams are more ominous, which makes sense. It's been a few days. You were trying, like in gifts where Too much is sent, but you can't put it otherwise. I can't take out money, then my dad is there, and their cave. There are 5 rocks in the picture. When you look at it, it does require some patience. Then we turn into bats, you and me, I think. The bats were the good part. Anyway, this is what I have so far. Each side proves impossible to describe, even with the recording playing where it did in my mind. The folds eventually hit at a moment of impossible coupling, but I can never find the drop-off of history, maybe because it's so fucking terrifying. But then, at some point, the petals start to gather upwards. They start to know history, which is to mean their own terror. I focus, the rose comes back, I come inside of it. In the simulation, we can only present it as either wet or not wet. I can't stop once in this state. It wasn't that it's rare. I never came as a result of rarity, but instead of being overwhelmed by placing myself in a position where I know I can't escape. Sometimes I, even forgets that she even had to come back here to the Abbey, or her mind would escape on its own. Can one live here through a system of memory implantation? There is no traffic here, or maybe there never had been any. Each neighbor went to shovel that night's sleet into piles warm as if humid, no cars anymore, since when no one can exactly remember. As a history, time seemed to have moved past it. It was a blip in time, not necessarily moving forward, but as an incantation of itself, meaning in spirals. They called it sleet, but it wasn't exactly. More a system of nutrient collection that the Governance Council had set up. But it was a natural system in the sense of chemical reactions, transportation occurring by a system of pulleys. In other parts of the city, they still called it that. The sleet is not as numerous, depending on the interaction with the lake, which had swelled over the lower hills and tributaries. So now it's a relationship. The buildings, they still called them that, sway now, because every building has to sway with the wind, any wind, which moves faster now, they say. They also say that memory would deteriorate over time. The operation could never be fully successful, and it's not like mourning had a choice in it either. In the way certain mourning came to her as if from far away, certain doors mourning wasn't allowed to open, getting through them being impossible. At some point in the centuries after stores became obsolete, the word was lost even, stores. It only remembers because mourning collects magazines from before it's happening. Being able to live in one's memories was what caused the eventual collapse, and it being joyful, a radio on repeat. Could there be eyes like yours? Could there be lips like yours? Could there be smiles like yours, honest and truly? It was not a system in the technocratic sense of the word, but a sexual one, not in the technocratic sense, whatever that means. She, writing this now, discovers the feeling impossible to render, even though her being able to write made her question all her hypotheses. It was not unlike a god's ability to create life, still a misrepresentation of the process itself. This is all to say that the spark which linked the two, memory to life, had been encountered. She thinks an easier way to say this is that dreams are now considered life forms. All right. So I'm going to read from a new work that's coming out of that work in the same universe. That's coming out, but not right now. In a couple of years. This is from Hypotheca. And so all you need to know that the two characters, Daniela, or three characters, Daniela, John Jack, and Annette, were part of a cluster, a cell that worked against the state. And they get sent to a prison colony, which feels also of this universe. And they're remembering their pasts. So. Daniela keeps a memo from John Jack next her bed, with the St. Christopher medallion nestled in it. The insects, more profligate, being bathed in them, having gotten to where we are, not necessarily by choice. But there is an attuning which comes to pass. For instance, not knowing what going from a feeling of governance to something else feels like. Committing sex fraud, you were looking for a form of working that makes itself happen, not as a reflection of power, then doing that. Then, waiting on what comes next. That gave it a sense of where your fatigue was, the lack of anyone getting their shit together, me included, finding what's happening and going on in there as it corresponds to energy, having at that moment become an expression of anger, and then doing the anger to you necessarily as a sex thing. They said it was a buffer in praise of folly because it came from a long time ago. It didn't. Telling things in other degrees didn't get the message across in the way you wanted. We would say it like this: what comes to your mind but as a part of it and not something outside? Daniela knows she shouldn't say anything, but not because of listening, but because of pressure around the roses, sucking them in. But she would say, making Daniela come is like a kind of breathing. She can't think about it for too long, or can't externalize it, but we shouldn't be calling it thinking because it's something else. She says, by the roses on the curve of the coast over the edge of it had meant not a jutting out, but giving the feeling of being drawn out, while still having the beach that it did in front. The roses, too, have a curve, when they call for us, as if they follow our placement, as it were, on the beach. But I only realized this afterwards. The shifting would come, see, that's why I dig myself in deeper and deeper, a certain je ne sais quoi, but one that attracts, which makes the entire system of blood tides possible. Then the pink sky shifts some of them, its folds, and deposits us back into the garden, abruptly, as in having to hold on to its limits. The walls of the garden, although curved, while still obviously inimical, could not produce an end, or at least I can't see any. Daniela leaves things there, outwardly at least. Back in Beaune, which is the town they're from, Daniela had her holiday last week, so sets herself off for the next intrinsic pulling. I'm so bored, Daniela. Daniela goes to check the mail. Notice to the following members of Beaune. To all young above practitioners of the natural philosophy, here being notice of your immediate transfer to the rotunda. Through your denial of the separate tongues, we declare your dictations to be speech's loss, which will result in your inevitable moving outwards. Prepare your wrists to be led, not by elemental speech, but by your external interest, which we now know to be the true and right protection against the cataracts. Carrying out an economic desire through the internal wishes of your pre-souls will always be met with the firm hand of the cards. The bare bones bicycle we use to promote transaction only functions when the outward speech can oil its gears, so to say. And heaving like that, you won't get very far, especially with your hearts, like a make of chalk. And so, with the concurrent stepping necessary from the interim urbanists, we wish you our sincerely, the Council of Bredonia. It was this way in every instance she woke up, in the same corner of the beds, in its insistence to maneuver her among the rose garden. And here, too, she didn't have peace, as it were, not like she felt in the pink sky, at the far end of the inexhaustible garden. Was it the house she ate that brought her here, the curse of its 12 rooms, or was it 12 windows? She now remembered windows, having to close them, taking care of a brother, which means protection too, knowing they were to be sacrificed. Daniela asked, could he be here too? She pushes her feet between the slats, holding up a golden butter rose, only its leaves felt muddled, meaning red, like everything else. Its main characteristic was its unattainability. That's the thing about curvature, Joe says, reaching without culminating at any specific point, its poles attaching only as a cutout or a distillation of the main structure, what it feels like to be a bridge, the desire to move under oneself, yet being trapped within the confines of the garden. You remember more being on its outside, the more you remain within the garden, outside the texture of the water, on the far side, mixed with the coming back towards you, the coupling of these. She liked to maintain the fantasy of the body as a whole, liked but also forced to, liking being more a form of resemblance than actual interest, internal interest. She had no idea where actual interest came from or what it looked like. The beds of roses were narrow, which felt strange given how far out the posts of the garden were. And it came back to her now, her body. It was somehow always her fucking problem. She holds the arm out now, letting each red spurt fall softly in the narrow beds, first hitting the pedestal before making its way down to the axle. The roots glisten and hum slightly, a gentle whir filling the garden. She whispers sardonically at the roses, "What does it feel like to be a bridge?" Who, while not being able to respond in kind, still gave the sense that they were, like everything, here at all times. All right. And lastly, I'm going to read some new poems. They're also appear in a new book by my friend Rainer, which is just out, who you might know. And this is part of something I'm calling a chapbook called Romantic Scenes. So we're leaving the prose world, whatever that means. Letter to one M.R.D. Hamilton regarding taste. Feeling or sensation evaporates whenever the feeler, the subject here is the object, tries to perceive and understand a particular feeling or sensation. Kathy Acker. Your idea of amusing our daughter's love for life a little bit regarding which objects and varieties of plants are agreeable seemed an excellent one to me. But I wouldn't dare propose it to you out of fear for one M justice, even though, coming from your heart, I've ran with it all to persuade them that nature softens our tastes and frivolous amusements, preventing a tumult of the passions, and carries food to the soul which is good for it, and in filling out age with its small steppings, of which I carry nothing, seeing precisely that the names of plants were not common to our eyes. But it seems our tastes have changed. I've always thought one could be a great botanist without knowing a single plant by its name. That part envelops the suggested clang of the ordinary, and which is, to some extent, their right, but also for the ease with which you can find it in bloom. It keeps custody of fauna and falls into 6 pieces which are easily separated, that we call petals. But each specious suggestion comes back to the envelope of the fruit. Another event comes in our need for protection and good valence. She tells me about a novel that she wants to show the kind king, and, being the enemy of affect, turns away from merit in any case. So, back to a wisp of a giroflee, or of any walk down that happy street which is seen as sensible. We buy weed and for cigarettes on the reservation, even though you've quit. The flecks of simple cruelty come in 4 separate pieces, but the joints of the narcissus come in around the same time. Zhukovsky and Rousseau share a fondness for flowers, but not for fruit. Back to the number 6, which is to mean a man watches a man catching fish, and another one eating it there being with a woman, because they still keep lead in the glass alongside the rotation. If that part is the most delicious, then it will taste that way, the way grapes work. And I ask her for the word that makes things slower. Then she brings us the big grove of experiences. And I tell you that the hill was made on purpose for the city. It's a state that brings back a project I'd abandoned. 4 or 5 years, I tasted habitually those internal delights which I owe to my prosecutors. Even without them, I never would have found or known the treasures. That goats ferment their own milk, that I've started that too, but haven't told you. So the other line or section is the one with the characters, which are distinct from the lips in a muffled old garden, as the king of the pirates writes, that every revolution starts in a church or the place of one, because they do not have windows that lead to what lies outside. So maybe that was what I was trying to tell you, me not having a system for it. It was a novel that was pure nerves without its aromatic sense, even though he's covered up the grains in hyssop. So I'm touched by a memory which I'm barely attached to. Are you more charmed than surprised? But don't worry about not being able to smell the big cruciferous glands. Even great botanists miss them and turn around in unequal parts, knowing what I think about the novels of women that stay away from the orchids. Then there's the problem of plain fructification, which the herborists miss. We can only narrow the types of folioles down to those that escape our spirit and those that don't. And in the field, it's even worse. There's no reason to give botany any importance than it doesn't have, living at the hands of society which can't make peppers or plums. You send me a little pain, dear cousin, and I call those ills in our stomachs ills of the heart. Travel and water will suffice, keeping away from the hands of justice by what is rendered necessary, having heard what tones amount to, having an idea of it, but not yet finding the natural way to it. I decided to keep things the way they were. And again, I make up things, but I started making things in consequence and got so fucking scared as court passes legal battle across sweeping eyes. I lit a St. Anthony candle and found $400. Planning is a form of changing everything in your mind. I gave up my only sound for this smattering of others. Then it all kept falling into something else, the yogurt of the big mind, making lyric inevitabilities. So there is taste in not smelling. I can't see the candy wrappers in my office, but I know they're there. The sun is not doing what it's always done. Maybe that's why I fall in love with them, inserting the little golden tube to the part that hurts. So it says something like our group need, but by doing very little, because taste is not in doing. We agree, at least in that. Letter to Rayner, after the flood, regarding Diderot's Pensées sur l'interprétation de la nature. Billet to Mr. M. New Rayner on the innateness of pleasure. A scale to R. Hamilton on the impossibility of externality, teaching us things about internality. An epistle to Rayner D.H. Hamilton about why we feel the need, being the real need, for everything to be some kind of perverted dialogue. Missive to RDH on the suspension of vocation and its related outpourings. Courting our spirit of the heart and trying so hard to show you where it is, that we are here, where I am in the observatory. Oh, look, there's my husband giving hip to the pure sky, and lost, sent to offer that with the flies. I've only received the natural aspect, around, and no dreaming tone since we've started this, but maybe that's because we haven't finished. It's a classic misunderstanding. I've myself had nothing, but I feel like I have. Big trouble in Little Poland. We wanted the stuff in front to move behind. In any case, I, had a gift as long as it's provisional. I told them that your heart led us to Prince's place last night, and he was lost to it. I, having the scent of a fly, do, well, look at her on the mountains with the cast of numbers extra, so we were aboard. Keeping secret guile in the social life of saints, you do like it when I complain, and sometimes it actually does help to lie about it. And how stupid that of all the supernatural dawns I could have received, I ended up with yours. To experience can be added all the detail you could ever want, but it won't help us find the limit. Let's skip this one. Add it all to the total coverage. I bring the bread you connect to. The priests get wired in the back with earnest tragedy, which will be fancy regardless. Another feeling. What's more tragic than I'm just saying? The server, looking like your mother, my aunt working at the front. Do you want this here pepper omelet, being forward at the hip and cold where you are? Being none of these things, Mr. Pynchon, does it meanwhile suffice wanting something else, you mean? Could you acquiesce a stout, almost inseparable attachment to smell? Would you rather die? Let's scatter it and supplement experience, please. Yes, to completion through animal spirits. No to retaining your past obsession with sight. Who cares how strong your powers of distinction are? All right, these are just two last poems. Thank you so much, everyone. These are, the first one is from the February 25th Society prompt, if you know, you know. And the other is similar. Like our friend, Dr. Winter. She was haunted by a lack of detail. A billet contains a start that's slower than we think, even if je suis ado. The date for the contract passed, and I've heard nothing. I respond to the little gold tube inside of you, all with wanting so many oysters with parsley. You stole the painting with our material sound. Strawberries abound. Show her that you're doing something in the bar of the adult children, watching nothing, in fact, because feeling nothing. So you start conciliating that middle, but the light ate the bijou. Can I come in? The life looks okay, but in 22 moments the episode changes. Instead, advocate for deselection. I tricked the frame into a place of work. Everyone has the right stomach for the job, but you. Glycolic acid lies in the heart of herbs. Court your calculations until she ends up excavating her allure. That's interesting. I'll escrow you how. Even if you don't listen to me, the sense of it moving until it breaks you happens anyways. The place of work is inside of me. She holds sound like a castle. We tell the server, it's raining. Conversers converse. Meanwhile, you are incapable of responding to the epiphanic form. Take her back to where we don't know nature. Then you get off. Crocus moves. You check on your lesser German cousin. Do you count past 2? News covers. I shame the respect of women. Here the park goes where you need it to go. Take Thursday, for example. Reader reports a different muscle group out of song. I watch you go out to sea. And this is from a prompt that Rainer and Violet gave. It says, what can the libertine and the nun teach each other? They remember distance. The libertine and the nun don't realize how to solve the problem till later, and being distressed, but not the way you think. It's our hard bargain for reanimating our friendship, going up and down the apartment depending on who's on the floor, it being embedded in the mountain. Everyone comes up to me. Each floor opens up and it's these guys. So we're both embedded, but not to escape pleasure. The nun says, I'm in the bottom floor of the house and they keep coming at me. I have a penis in the dream or something like it. And the guys are coming into the house no matter how high I go. When they go up, the ceilings fall apart. All these guys and a pile of them. Then there's the king of them and he says, there's only one way to win. At first, I think it's taking it from him, seemingly easier, or at least customary, in it not taking the nun, me, out of themselves. Then we realize he means, no, you have to top me, with the penis-like thing. Then the field goes tan, and I collapse. Well, green, he, the libertine, smells wet. Tan, the grass is outside, and blue sky, and she, the big she, recognizes us in the outline of their hot face at night, and smelling and not stopping. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you, Bianca. So, my colleague Lena Bergamini was originally going to get to introduce Sophia, but they are ill and can't be here. So, lucky me that I get to do it. So, I'm going to do mine and then I'm going to read Lena's. But I'm just going to be really sentimental at first and say I'm just so honored to get to introduce Sophia Dahlin. I met her in August of 2014, and not to brag, but I've been a super fan of Sophia for over a decade, and it just means a lot to be introducing you at Segue. It's really special. This book, Glove Money, is so special. The way that Sophia brings life into language is one of the most inspiring ways I can think of how to be a person. The way she writes about love, the way she makes the everyday life interesting. She imbues it with magic because she is magic. I've been lucky enough to take probably like a dozen or more of her workshops, and she has this way of everyone she meets, she brings into her world and her planet. I probably don't have to tell you, the audience, probably many of you already have experienced this, but if any of you haven't gotten to see Sophia read before, I'm so jealous of you in this moment that you're going to experience this magic for the first time. And I mean, it doesn't hurt that, she's also just an incredibly kind and amazing friend and person. And I just feel really lucky to get to be alive at the same time as you, and to get to work on this book at all. It means everything. So thank you for this book and for bringing it to all of us here today. And I'm not going to cry. Okay, this is my colleague Lena now. Now I'm Lena. In the words of Sophia Dahlin, if you fear you are not gay enough, go out and do something about it, like suck a dyke's dick or get fisted. It's this tenacity that makes me obsessed with her work. I've been calling Glove Money Frank O'Hara for slutty lesbians, or, depending who I'm talking to, trans-inclusive sapphic, dare I say lesbian love poetry we have all been waiting for. Sophia's writing is jaunty and playful. She manages to bring you along through the fantasies and terrors of erotic love while keeping a levity. In her words, youth is about being juicy. Sophia has an effortless ear for metered pacing and musicality, which allows her to write into that most terrifying space of falling in love with a lightness. She flitters between play and directness with lines like, it's more lesbian culture to be bi than lesbian. Sophia Dahlin is a poet based in the Bay Area, where she organizes readings, co-edits Islet Press, and teaches generative poetry workshops out of her apartment, nearby parks, and the internet. Her first book of poems, Natch, or Natch, was published by City Lights in 2020. Poems from Glove Money have appeared in Chicago Review, the Brooklyn Rail, Hot Pink, Send Me Press, Poetry Northwest, Kenyon Review, based in Social Text. We're so lucky to welcome Sophia.
Hello. Hi. So I just had a nice cry. Thank you so much, Emily, and thank you, Lena, for those beautiful intros. Thank you, James and Lily, for having me here. Bianca, thank you for that gorgeous reading. Do you ever go by Leslie Scalapino? Is that one of your names? I hope. I'm so happy to be here, and I'm just going to read from the book, except as I lay in bed on my left side, looking at Instagram today, I was reminded that it's October 4th, and that on this day, Bernadette Mayer wrote a poem called Baby Come Here Today, whatever, Be Born Today, October 4th. And I am pregnant, and I am not ready to have the baby. So I wrote a poem. Baby, do not come today, October 4th. It's too early. Furthermore, we already have a Sophia, and she is tired with you and lying in bed. We are in New York City. The sky is blue. They will say it is a lie, but it's just as blue here as anywhere, and you will not see it. Not today, baby. Stay in your bath. Ecstatic trains missed us. We are training to be maternal, showing up to the reading with 4 bags of essentials. Me and my black Hokas, the official shoe of cool dads in California and here too.
ecstatic experience with cities. Your mom is a few blocks away in Chelsea. Galleries probably our friends ought boycott, but she is an intuitive tourist and might enter anyway. Don't worry, we can't afford any art. What we own is a gift or a loan. Soon you will learn to streak ink and smash wax. Soon everything will occur to you. Soon you will narrate the thickening chords. You will share Bear hates the bad rabbit. History is contracting us, tightening its drum. You hear our voices. You have heard the sound of infant formula sinking in the ocean. You have never been hungry, or you. Do not come today, baby October 4th. Remain for a while, the jeweled fruit heart, seated with every future's dates and cares. Thank you. You can apply for that separately because it's not from glove money. I don't mind. Thank you. I loved making this with Nightboat. Thank you guys so much. Glove money. I need money to buy gloves so that I never need again to touch it. Money. I need gloves to separate my hands from dollars, also from other hands when they hand me money, handling others' money, others' hands, disgusting, and cold or hot and lotion. To regulate mine own hands' temperatures, gloves, to buy them money. What would be most ideal would be to have the gloves already. Someone, I need you to hand me some gloves, to hand me some money there in the glove store, so I may hand that money in my glove to the cashier there, whose name is French for cashier, and she will handle me the coins I'll catch in my leather palm, or velvet palm, or artificial, breathable fibers like Lance Armstrong, an athlete of my time. I would like enough money for gloves, enough gloves for money, and 2 hid hands held by my secret skin. Once, before I knew I was a kind of lesbian, when I just liked boys, when I was but a bored, when I despised my own thin, small-boned chest, I saw on her, we were in somebody's driveway in full sun, a classmate wore a hand, a little charm on a chain, palm down, penny-length ornament that rested past her clavicle, above her breasts. It is the part I now know I love to touch the best, just where the fat starts. I stood, though, dumbstruck, not knowing yet that I am a hand, and my sex is a hand. I thought, how erotic, how could it be so erotic, how secret, that her necklace touches her, she wears the touch in public. MFA or NYC or fate. I moved to the Midwest to die, as if it were somehow easier there, or to exit a dark bar of friends, lie down on a sloping lawn, and dissolve there and wake up a dew. I thought I'd give it a try. I thought booze would open a green portal. I thought the field happened around me so the sky could join my fears. I thought I'd grow my hair. I fucked the sidewalk and the grad lounge and the graveyard, and I stuck. Sex trapped me in my form. My formal lover kept the shears. Not the field happened to me, but the sheep. Not the shepherd lying down to come like I'd wanted and planned. I moved to the Midwest and was a sheep, and was a stalk of corn stuck in the shape. My shepherd stole my hair. My barber harvested my hair. Some movement in me died, some ease, some grass. I like anything. You thought a plate had landed on your table, but I placed it. I brought this clover to the field. Haven't tried it. Hear it's sweet. Would you like more soda in your life? Would you like bright water in your glass? Black-legged bee, dry-bladed grassy patch. Would you like more spring feeling? Would you like some sitting in a day and you really do what you're doing? Not always seeking the ledge of attention with your shod, your insensible feet. Would you like anything? The bee paws the petals, dabs the pancake. I like this insane music, heels of the poets in the clover, the inhabited flavor of a juice called nectar. Anything, anything, anything. Somehow that became dedicated to Ben. I was like, it's for you. Being there in 5 for Brandon Brown. You've been waiting for me in the bar, the natural bar where the wine smells like horse shit. The white wine basks in the glass. When you drink it, it laughs, effervescent. I come in late, but really fast. As if I cannot bear your weight, my pained face sings, singes me, wounded. I fucked up, wrong bus. My co-op for my horse, my cart. I came on foot. I slipped on cum. I'm tardy. I love you the better for it. I forgive you, you say. I still want to see you, you say. Your grace finishes us both. Nail polishes the horse to the horseshoe. I shot a girl, I said. I riddled her with my intentions. You want to be my baby? You want to be my daughter? I rode her back to the pasture and her body to the water. What are you drinking? Just, you say, the house red. It's good, you say lightly, the push on it's. I'll have it too. You look beautiful. You have to deal with my compliments. You grind a little your teeth in your chair. You thank me. Who is this girl, you ask? The magnetic one who taps a bottle cap to her temple and it stays? No, I say. She only wished to be my anecdote. Is it the one you think is dangerously young? No, oh no, she is younger than that. Oh, Brandon, I yell, remember. Everyone twists in their wooden chair. Why do bars have to be so quality, I ask you? Why must this field of daisies so closely attend? What, Sophia, what are you asking me? You ask, your mouth an ordinary distance from the window. No one who sees us would guess. I hear the clink of every marble in my sack and feel breathed by the air, a waft of blousy silk, and that, as you modestly describe the ancientest language you learned, I ride the rolling gestures of your hands, all horse-like, and arrive. So true. Oh. No, the cap, it fell into actual nothingness. Awesome. I feel like often at readings I have a lot to say in between the poems, but when you work on a book for a while, I guess it just all gets said. I don't know, I'm like, yeah, the next thing is to read you the next poem. Here's the next poem. Sappho is quantum bracket. A lot of this book is sapphics, by which I just mean poems where I mention Sappho or lesbianism. So a lot of people who actually know what the Mixolydian mode is, which I don't, have been like, tell me about how you write sapphics. And I'm like, it's my birthright. Sappho is quantum bracket. How will I write sapphic poetry? For though I am a woman loving women, my love is a man's solicitous desire. I scratch my throat. My voice goes husky as I say your name. I measure the yard with a foot-long hot dog, but I fuck up the numbers because the sausage softly bends and I get distracted pressing it against the exterior molding. My love was invented to secure our infant housing, and every time we touch, I want to write a check. Not necessarily to you, but somebody. I am so dumb. I'm so lucky. I'm certain I'm overlooking my uselessness. None of this is true. My love is a fruit. I am just like Sappho, bearing your loss to the wedding, and I am assured of my uselessness. Here is its catalog. The yard is trees, a long lap of trees across a woody forest, peeling down the sea, and I'm speaking to you in this group of our peers, yearning, and I know my yearning is sonorous, because I am not trying to take you from anybody. If you want to go, all I can do is sing you hotly, so that you will look for me when your water breaks. When birth pain takes you out, you'll feel my face in darkness. When you hear your name elsewhere, my voice will sing it lightly under. You'll name your baby Sophia. The fruit of my invention seeds its sugar in your dreams. Flagrance of Sappho. I don't know what I want tonight, knowing I want to see her. At the Changi airport, on a green lips-shaped love seat, between two trees rooted below the floor, I see mist, and I learn the ceiling is misting, a rain and air barely appearing down on my library book, my open-face phone. I'm thinking of a friend's beautiful, biting eyes, and the inexpert kissing he effects not with his lips, but with his mandibles. I'm eating ham toast from Paris baguette. The cheese is on top of the top slice of bread, only the ham is sandwiched. So everything is a mouth here. The Changi airport cradling me, salivarily between crystal windows. A little person trying to live in a giant. A little person trying to live in money. The tooth has a door if I'm very lucky. The tooth has a chimney like a memory of housing. Child artists in the hottest suburbs of SoCal know home is hearth and smoke toodles out, a red rectangle and grass greens the front patch, a narrow blue sky hovers high above a mother, a father, a sister, a brother, a family dog, a family cat, an associated bird, and where the neighbors, the traffic, the wild, and the abandoned live is just white, between where the green lip and the blue lip of lawn and sky part. We got a bowl from a bodega on the way here, and then I realized I didn't have any paper to select my poems with, so this is the bag it came in. And it's good, it's sturdy. Bless you. Bless you, Sid Wesley. Sid's a new poet in town. You should make friends. Everybody. No. Sapphic lecture. This is my speech. If you fear you are not gay enough, go out and do something about it. Like suck a dyke's dick, or get fisted, dump your boyfriend. Fear can be destructive, and it will age you. It will age you like the sun. But you can enjoy your fear if you are careless with it. You can enjoy the sun and let it graze upon your baby's skin. If you fear not being queer enough, try to think of yourself as lyrical dirt anti-capitalist animals might furrow, sunlight might lavish sex upon. Notice yourself mobile, a bouncing part of the natural world. If you fear not being read as queer, cut your hair weird. Quit a job. Practice your art. I don't know, join a cell, locate a clit. I'm trying to show you how good this can be. How much joy, like how much liquid in these clouds. Men can be wonderful, but too many of them will ruin your life. They will ruin the garden of your love because they will stand around you like a fence and crowd out the queer birds, the queer beasts, and the queer creatures of the forest's fucking. This is my wisdom. Sapphic, sapphic for Violet. My pussy sucking yours. It's natch when it's for natural, and it's nature when it's for nature. Nature's green fist is goals. Lovely a tree smell, a lovely lion's fur. Once you see a lion, you can't stop seeing it. Lion fur, gold lion, her mane, her land of lambs, her eating sunflower hair, her seeded eyes. You wanna go? I wanna. The eye wants, the eyes wanna. It was a soft fitted shirt, her hips not her stride, her long-legged, impatient, the hem narrow, amazing its rigidity, amazing she had to stride with one hand holding up her skirt, people peopling the green could see, her knees, impatient stride, lift hem to move knees onward, the field lies flat to be taken, my room running in place on a flat lawn, a rich green, a ghost goes through, make like a wall and let it pass through you, the gods depend on your skin, only a human is a trespasser, I intend, I gonna clamber into a chamber, life's the kiss of death, you're the end of me, the start, an alive light spiral, no, if it's light, it spreads, does not bottle cup nor brim, it does not remain, an energy expends, though a tree's not spent in smelling, go there at once, sharing the abundance of three, you try, a special try. Though a tree's not spent in smelling is my Leslie Scalapino line. I just have one. That's it. A peer of bodice. Your form is loitering among the trees. You take the time you want to leave to anything. Your form is loitering. These downtown Oakland streets I like. These open nights like oceans or Olympic oceans. The open mattress feeling on the floor. I take the place. I can't take time. The sun is buoyed by its sentences. The book is nebulous with real fog, but the fog is generative. It forms. Your form is loitering among the trees. You are the olives, gray and green. You are the wine, drunk wine that dries the tongue. Above wine's head, the sky's birds masticate what clouds are throaty closure of. I say, your form is loitering among the trees. It melts the space that ought be cut between. That's not a silhouette. That's a form I can't get to leave the forest. Thank you.
Thank you again to Sophia and Bianca for those beautiful readings. Can we do one more cheer? Okay. And thank you to Segue and Artist Space for having us. Thank you all for being here. Please come back next week when we'll have Monica de la Torre and Rodrigo Toscano reading. And we have books if you would like to buy Bianca and Sophia's books. They're right over there. Thank you.